everybody. Welcome to the Teaching Kitchen here at Dave's Market in Midtown Cleveland. My name is Juliana Blischak. I'm a registered dietitian with Sodexo at University Hospitals.
I'm Anthony Verona. I'm the culinary director with UH with Sodexo as well. Welcome, everyone.
So, summer is finally upon us in Cleveland, so it's time to get outside, fire up those grills. I know we've talked about it in previous videos, but why do we love grilling so much? Well, it's a great healthy option because it adds a ton of good flavor without relying on lots and lots of fat. So today we're going to be showing you two different kinds of kebab recipes. One that's more on the sweet side, one that's more on the savory side. Originally from the Middle East, kebabs have become popularized all throughout the world. They're easy, they're versatile, they're delicious. Chef Tony,
all right,
tell us a little more.
It's summer, but it's Cleveland, so we're grilling indoors. I guess we could have grilled out there, but a little overcast and 52, so you know what? We're going to grill indoors. I have a nice cast iron grill pan here that I've been heating up for a minute, so it's nice and hot. And that's a good point. With kebabs, you want it really hot because you want it to get some nice caramelization before it really cooks the fruit till it's just mush. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. The other thing is the recipe states peaches, nectarines, but great to use. But today we're using the fruit that we can get available at Dave's today. And no stone fruit, so we're going to use some cantaloupe, some strawberries, and pineapple, okay? First off, very simple dish, just a couple ingredients. I do want to talk about the glaze real quick. Balsamic vinegar adds some nice acidity. We have some honey in there, a little bit of chili flake, which is kind of, you know, great, I think. So it's just got a little bit of heat into it. And then we just put it into a pot. I'm not going to show you that today because it does take about a half an hour. We put those ingredients into a pot, reduced it. Reduction is basically us evaporating the water off, and it's going to get nice and syrupy, almost like a maple syrup. And you can see how nice and syrupy it is, and it's got a little bit of heat to it, but not too much, okay? Next, like I said, we're using cantaloupe, pineapple, and strawberries. Everybody knows how to cut a strawberry. I'm not going to show you that, but I am going to show you how to cut a cantaloupe. So I've seen tons of different people cut in tons of different ways, from quartering it to put it into wedges and trying to cut the rind off. Well, I'm going to show you the professional way, okay? And so what we want to do is a pineapple or a honeydew is round, right? So we want something that's a little bit manageable because it's hard to cut the. Still got to make our first couple cuts. We got a sharp knife, clean cantaloupe. I'm just going to cut the ends off, okay? So that's going to give us a nice flat surface. You can see it's nice and flat, right? I didn't cut it on an angle and now it's tilting this way. We got a nice flat surface. We're going to compost this, okay? Now, what we want to do is take our knife, a sharp knife. And look, a knife is intended for sawing, a little bit of sawing motion. So I'm going to show you what to do here. What I like to do is put the blade of my edge right on where the green starts. And I take some sawing motions and I follow the curvature of the pineapple or the cantaloupe. And you can see, yes, there's a little bit of meat in there, but that's unavoidable. And then what I like to do, you can see I went all the way down. See this nice little line right here? My edge of my knife is going to follow that line. See what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. And I'm following the curvature of the cantaloupe. And I'm just going to go through this. Short sawing motions. And I don't like any green on my cantaloupe, because that green just means A, we weren't paying attention, and B, it's bitter. There we go. If you see a little bit of green on there, I'm just going to go back, take that off, and that's it, okay? Again, we're going to compost these. And we're going to cut it straight in half. And there that falls. Actually, I'm not going to do this to save time. Boom, that goes there. Here. Now, this is an odd shape. So when you try to cut, you get some weird, because you want all your cuts to be somewhat perfect, right? You can see some of the The strawberries I left whole because they were smaller, some I cut in half, okay? What I like to do is lay this on the flat surface. I take my knife and I cut across here, right? And then I just go like that. And what I'm gonna end up with are just perfect, 1 inch little pieces. And on this, I like to square it off a little bit. You're not going to waste those. The kids will eat them. And you try to get as, nice pieces. They're not all going to be perfect. All right, now, the other key is if you were going to grill on these outdoors, right? Well, what happens with fire and wood? Catches on fire. How many times have you put a skewer on a grill, on an outdoor grill with flame, and you go to pick it up and it just falls apart? Why? Because it's wood. So bamboo, same thing. So I soak it in a little bit of water. Just take a little pan like this, 20 minutes, boom. It will eventually burn, but that's going to help prevent it from burning, okay? And simple. I'm just going to show you this real quick. Try to keep my same. I'm going pineapple. I'm going a strawberry. I'm going to do a cantaloupe, pineapple. You can see what I'm trying to do. I'm not going this way, right? I'm trying to go flat ways. It's just because I think you want it to lay flat. The more surface area you get, the more caramelization you get. You see, same with the strawberry. I'm trying to lay them all flat and get it like that. It's probably a little overkill, but there's all these little chef tricks that you do when you're trying to get good caramelization. Now we got a nice hot grill here. This is very important. Okay, so that's enough for now. We're going to do 3. You got to put a little bit of oil on it, right? Because what happens with anything, oil conducts heat, right? And it's going to help with caramelization. So I use just a little bit of neutral oil. I'm just going to go on the top, and then remember that bottom, that flat surface is really where we want to, because that's going to be kind of our showpiece, because that's how we're going to present it. All right, now I am going to take just a little bit of this. You can see that's nice and hot. It's really what we want. Oil that up just a little bit. Take my flat. That's what you want to hear.
That's awesome.
Oh, now I'm going to move these a little bit. And look, you're not looking to really cook this fruit, right? You just want to give it a little char. Because, cooked fruit, if you're going to cook it, then you might as well take it all the way and cook it all the way through and do something with it, but not in this case. We just want to get a little bit of char. We're just going to give this a minute. Now I'm doing the fruit first because we got some chicken skewers after this, so. What I like to do is it's not sticking. That's where that oil comes in. It helps conduct the heat, but it's also going to help it from stop sticking. I'm just going to take a look at it. Give that another second. There's nothing wrong with giving this just a little, make sure we get some contact. Oh, not all of it's going to contact, but we just want a little bit here. You got to keep your eye on it. Oh yeah. Let's give that another minute.
Good.
We're going to give, as that's cooking real quick, we are going to jazz this up just a little. So I got some fresh basil. The good thing about, look what I do. I do this at home. I put it in a little bit of water. I'll wrap a wet, moist paper towel or other towel. It'll last in your refrigerator for a week, 2 weeks. So I'm going to take a little bit of basil. Because, grilled fruit is grilled fruit, but we want to jazz it up a little. The other thing I really like with grilled fruit is oh yeah, look at that. That's great. A little bit of yogurt with a little bit of honey in it or something would be really good with this.
Yeah, I was going to add, all of these elements that he's showing you are going to elevate the dish. Find what works best for you. For example, if you're trying to avoid sugar, don't use honey. maybe focus on using the basil or use something like the yogurt that's gonna have protein in it,
Yep.
things like that, so it's not going straight to your blood sugar. But just overall, this is such a fun
Yeah.
way to really incorporate what's in season, what you've got on hand, what's on sale at the grocery store. You can put whatever together
Yep.
and it'll be really nice.
And you know, this straight basil, if you just go regular yogurt as well, you know, a
Yeah.
little creaminess is nice. So I'm liking this right now. So what I'm gonna do is just give that one more second. Here's my syrup. Remember I talked about that honey, that balsamic vinegar, a little chili flake. I'm just gonna dress this up on the plate. This is a great summer dish, plattered up for a function, a party on the back deck type of thing. You could do these in small skewers, big skewers. You could take them off the skewer, but I think they look pretty cool like that. Okay.
Wow.
We're gonna take a little bit, I'm gonna give this just a little bit on top. Okay. One thing I really like to do, sweetness, just a tad bit of salt, just a little bit. I don't know if you heard of putting salt on watermelon. You've ever heard that?
Yeah.
Tad bit of black pepper, balsamic, strawberries, classic combination, and then just some chiffonade, some basil. That's a beautiful little
Wow.
summer grilled fruit dish.
It's gorgeous. I'm impressed.
All right. You want to talk a little bit about the chicken dish real quick? Or
Yeah, let's
while I
talk
get ready for
about
that?
it. Yeah, so of course, hamburgers and hot dogs are a huge summer holiday favorite. But if we're looking to do something a little bit leaner, a little bit more heart healthy, kebabs can be a really great way to do that. In our kebab recipe today, we are using sesame oil and sesame seeds. So I wanted to address the controversy about seed oils. All over the internet, you might have seen people warning of the dangers of seed oils, specifically that they cause inflammation. So I'm all about facts, not fear. Currently, there is no real scientific evidence to back those claims. At this moment, the research that we have is inconclusive. And I sound probably like a broken record at this point. We need better nutrition research. That's the moral of the story here. But yeah, so I can't, I can't demonize seed oils because there just really isn't that science to say that they cause inflammation at this time. But just like any fat, we want to consume it in moderation. We want to not heat it to too high of a heat. That'll cause it to break down. I think another part of the controversy that goes with seed oils is that a lot of times they are in highly processed foods. And we know those are foods that we should limit, but not just because they're high in seed oils. They're also high in sugar, salt, everything. So keep that in mind. If you really like cooking with sesame oil or another type of oil, again, in moderation, I wouldn't worry about it. Ooh, we're already grilling here.
Yeah, I just want to get these on because I want to get them off so everybody can see what they look like. So we're going to get those on, and then we're going to show you how to make them.
Sounds
Just
good.
wash my hands real quick. Okay, well, let's get cooking. So now we're going to make a kebab, a chicken kebab. Very simple, real simple Asian ingredients. So I took just a basic chicken breast. These were big chicken breasts, so I trimmed them really well, got some of that fat, some of that cartilage off, and now it's just 100% chicken. So we're gonna make the marinade for it. All right, so first I'm gonna go with a little bit of green onion, okay? You want this to marinate for, you can marinate it for 30 minutes up to 6 hours. With soy sauce, I probably wouldn't go overnight, but that's just me. A little bit of sesame oil. Very pungent, beautiful oil. We have some hoisin, which not only is going to add some, the marinade to cling to the chicken. As you can see over here, it's kind of clinging to it, and that's what we kind of want because that sugar also is going to caramelize when we put it on the grill. A little bit of soy sauce. I'm going to chop up a little bit of garlic. So You can buy garlic chopped in a can or in the jar. You can buy it already peeled. But the garlic you buy in the bulb, it lasts extremely long time, very easy to work with. So for this, we only need 1 clove. I already peeled it, but I'm just going to show you real quick how to chop garlic. If anybody knows, I'm sure you could just go and chop it, but I like to give it a little smash, right? And then I take my knife and I kind of break up those membranes in there. And then I just give it a rough chop. You know, people put salt on it and stuff. You don't need it. Look at that. I just smash it up. Take my knife. That's all you're looking for there. The other thing I want to add is a little bit of jalapeno. So I want this nice and finely diced. And I tasted this jalapeno beforehand, and it's not extremely hot, so I am going to use this whole. You just want it fine, right? You don't want to be chomping into a big piece. So I'm just going to mince this nice and fine. And I'm looking over at my that's going to be good. I'm looking over at my chicken. And what you want to look for in the chicken while it's grilling is okay, it's not ready yet because you can see it's sticking a little. So I want to leave it. You really want that chicken to be able to freely move. I can see this one's almost there. Yep. Yeah, we're looking good. So I'm actually going to flip that one. Oh yeah. Okay, we're going to just give those another minute, but you can see we're getting some nice caramelization on there, okay? And we're going to build some here in a minute. So here's my marinade. I think I got everything in there. Just going to give this a quick stir. I mean, all those Asian flavors, yummy. That's basically what it should look like right there, okay? So we're going to set that aside. So we did our garlic. We have some garnish here. We're going to add to it later. All right, our vegetables. Just like we did with any skewer, in the fruit skewer, we want our vegetables and our meat to be kind of the same size, okay? So I'll show you how to cut a pepper. A couple different ways to cut a pepper, okay? I don't like to waste it. A lot of people cut the ends off. I just kind of stick my thumb in there, pop that in there, just cut it directly in half.
Wow.
And then I just take that out.
I've never seen anyone do that.
And just kind of go in there with the white. Easy, no waste. You don't want to eat that anyhow. Get rid of those seeds. The white, the membranes in there, not going to hurt you, but just try to get some of that out. And real simple, you want doesn't mean to make it too complicated. Okay, so there's our peppers, kind of the same size as our chicken. And then our zucchini. Just cut it directly down the middle. Down the middle one more time. And then you just get perfect little. Okay. Put those there. All right. Let's make some skewers. Got everything ready. This is called our mise en place, right? Mise en place means everything in its place and every place has its thing. That's what we want. That way we were able to, right? If we didn't have our vegetables cut and we weren't ready, we'd have to go back and, you see this one, I just made all vegetables. I am going to brush this a little bit with a tad bit of oil because we do want to keep it moist. That's cooking up nice. I can tell right away that our chicken and our vegetables are all going to be cooked about the same time. Okay? And if, you know, on a grill outdoors, you would probably have a lid. And in this case, if I, you know, notice it not, well, we can put a little lid on it like this, just to retain some of that heat, okay? All right, so now we have our skewers. You can go any which way. It doesn't matter. I know I showed you I did one vegetables. I ended up with a bunch of vegetables left over. So what? I've seen a lot of people just skewer the meat as well and then do vegetables separately. Completely up to you. Again, I like to go long ways. And remember, when you're done with these vegetables, you got to cook them because I just touched raw chicken. Now I'm going into these vegetables back and forth, so you got to cook them, okay? And I soak these skewers. Now, Julianne, I know soy sauce has a lot of, probably more sodium than we want, but a little bit, or they also have low sodium. Yep.
Yeah, definitely I look for the low sodium if you're going to use it. But be mindful. Yeah. Know that when you're putting soy sauce into a meal, that is going to be
your salt.
That's going to be your salt. So let's not go adding salt with a salt shaker, that kind of thing. Yep. Be mindful of that.
Yeah, anytime I use soy sauce in a marinade or on top of fried rice or something, I'm not going to add salt, right?
No, yeah.
They also have gluten-free soy sauce. They have tamari, which is basically the same thing as a gluten-free soy sauce. And if you have trouble finding some of these ingredients, we do have a Chinatown here, and there's some great shops there, and you can find all the Asian ingredients you want down there. I go there quite a bit, and there's some great restaurants down there too.
Definitely.
So, you know, making skewers takes a little bit of labor of love. But I'm going to skewer up one more here.
Let's remind our viewers what temperature they need to cook their chicken to.
You tell me.
165.
Excellent.
165 to make sure that it's safe for consumption.
That's right. That's right. And the other important thing is for 15 seconds, right? So it can't just be hit. And most of the time we're going to hit it at 15 seconds, not a problem. Okay. And after I'm done skewering this, I'm going to take the lid off. And the best way to check internal temperature is with a instant read thermometer right here.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. Instant read thermometers are easily accessible. Dave's has them. There's digitals, there's analog, there's a bunch of different types.
Yeah, I have one from Amazon, and it has a magnet, and it sticks to my fridge. It's right there by the stove. It's so convenient.
Yep. So I'm going to finish this up, and I'm not going to guarantee it, but I bet you we're pretty close over here. And again, I use those soaked skewers. Here you don't need it because there's no flames, but on an outdoor grill, definitely. So let me put this stuff away. We got those. We'll cook those in a minute. Let me wash my hands. All right. I don't know if you can see over here, get a good picture, but we got some nice caramelization. I'm going to take the temperature. Yeah, we're at 168, okay? It's 165, right?
Yep.
So we are good to go there. What I like to do is take a skewer and just feel see, there's still a little bit of texture to these, which I like. And people think, oh, well, if you cut the zucchini and the peppers the same size as the chicken's going to take longer. Well, obviously not. So we have some nice caramelization. I like a little bit of texture on you know how zucchini gets when you overcook it?
Yeah.
It gets real nasty. And my kids hate zucchini, but when they have it grilled like this, they'll eat it. But once it gets overcooked, all the water comes out and it just turns to mush. Okay. So this is done. And look, sometimes they fall apart a little bit. That one was like at the end, not a big deal. I can smell that marinade is just killer. We'll put the veggie one on top. Look, big pile of rice, some grilled potatoes, sweet potatoes would be great with this, anything. All right, we're gonna hit it just a little bit of green onion and some sesame seeds. The other thing you can do is when you make the marinade, save some on the side without putting it in the chicken, and this with the hoisin makes it nice and somewhat thick. You could drizzle that on top, but we didn't do that today. So there you go. There's just a couple dishes of kebabs that I think anybody could do. The other thing, you could do this with fish. Tuna would be great. You know, you don't want to use like a flaky white fish, but different vegetables. You could cook sweet potatoes or potatoes and then put them on, because those are going to take longer. But you could use yellow squash, mushrooms,
literally anything. Anything
you
that's
want
in season over the summer. I mean, it smells like summer to me right now. But you listed a lot of good. I like them with mushrooms personally.
Yeah, mushrooms would be great on
onions, like big chunks of onions grilled.
Yep. Yep. So just a couple dishes of some grilled kebabs, and try to get this done in the summer, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Definitely. I'm going to leave you with just a couple more food safety tips, since that seems to be what I'm talking about today. Chef Tony mentioned earlier with his cantaloupe that it was clean. Even though you don't eat the rind, always clean your melons, because when you take that knife, you're taking whatever's on the outside of the melon and you're dragging it through. So clean the rinds, no matter what. Another thing, if it's hot out, well, really just in general, you shouldn't leave food out for more than 2 hours. Food safety rule number 1. But if it's really hot, like 90 degrees, 1 hour.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't.
Ice.
Yes, definitely. That will help. It doesn't always get to 90 here in Cleveland, but think about like a hot car. Don't leave your food in a hot car and then think you can go and eat it. It's not going to be good. Let's see. I think that was mainly my. Oh, one other thing for food safety. Chef Tony cut some of the excess fat off the chicken, and that has a lot of purposes. But one is because you don't want a ton of fat dripping onto the heat source of the grill. That can cause those potentially cancer-causing substances that we obviously want to avoid. So that is, I mean, just a good practice to get into before grilling.
Yeah, and breast meat's not going to have a lot of fat, but if you were using thigh meat, for sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right, well, have fun with this, get the kids involved, and enjoy.
Thank you.